Yo, what's going on? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. So the Memphis Grizzlies just blew out the Golden State Warriors, and the main storyline going into the game and after the game was Dillon Brooks against Draymond Green. Today in this video, I'm going to be analyzing, is Dillon Brooks overhated? So the Memphis Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors have developed a bit of a rivalry now, which is really good for the NBA. Draymond Green after the game said they are not a rivalry because the Golden State Warriors won a bunch of championships. They've won 4 recently, and the Memphis Grizzlies have never won one in their history. I completely disagree with Draymond Green's definition of a rivalry. To me, a rivalry are two teams that when they go up against each other, they're extremely chippy, they're extremely passionate, and they really want to beat each other more than the average team. They just get really aggressive and they play with a lot of passion. You look at the Red Sox and the Yankees, for example. To me, this is the best example of a rivalry in really American sports history. And if my knowledge serves me correctly, the Boston Red Sox went on an 85-year championship drought. So you're really trying to tell me, Draymond Green, that the Red Sox and the Yankees during that 85-year drought, they didn't have a rivalry? I always hear former Steelers players as well, guys like Hines Ward, guys like James Harrison, always talk about their rivalry in the 2000s with the Browns. Were the Browns good in the 2000s? No, they were pretty trash, but they still had a rivalry. And Draymond Green, again, he's really missing the point. And even getting into his argument in terms of they have to beat you guys and you have to beat them. I mean, they have a history of that. So last year in the playoffs, of course, the Golden State Warriors defeated the Memphis Grizzlies. They knocked them out of the playoffs. Great series, really chippy. The year before that, let's not forget Draymond Green. The Memphis Grizzlies knocked you guys out of the play-in. So again, there's history there in terms of playoffs 2 years in a row, and they get really chippy when they play each other. So they're absolutely a rivalry. Now, Draymond Green and Dillon Brooks, it's pretty obvious even before they ever played each other. These guys were really going to get at each other's throats. Both are defensive-oriented guys, defensive-minded guys, both above-average league defenders at this point in their career. And they're both extremely chippy. They're both those guys you describe as, I hate when they play against them, but I kind of want them on my team. They're both around the same size as well. Now, Dillon Brooks kind of plays that shooting guard, small forward. He plays on the wing, and they play very differently offensively, but they're somewhat similar defensively. They're both about 6'7", so they kind of match up against each other a lot. And Draymond Green really throughout his career has been known for technical fouls, and now Dillon Brooks, really getting to the subject of this video, Dillon Brooks has been known as a very dirty player this year. He leads the league in ejections this year. He's tied for first in technical fouls this year as well, which is crazy. You have a bunch of players such as obviously Draymond Green, but you have guys like Donavan Mitchell, Damien Lillard have gone out and outright said you need to take a guy like Dillon Brooks out of the league in terms of his dirtiness. He's just too dirty of a player. We've seen Dillon Brooks go at the necks of guys like Kevin Durant and LeBron James as well. And it's kind of similar to Draymond Green early in his career where he was kind of trying to build up his name, and by building up his name, he's going to go at the necks of these great superstar players. So I definitely appreciate that from Dillon Brooks. I get it. It's chippy. He gets very passionate out there. I thought the point he made was right in terms of, hey man, I go at each other's throats in terms of other guys on other teams. I don't punch my teammate in the face. So to me, to answer the short question, is Dillon Brooks overhated? The fact that people think Draymond Green is a better human being and a less dirty player just kind of proves on a surface level that Dillon Brooks is overhated. No way with Draymond Green's history dating back to those 2016 finals. No way you can honestly say that Dillon Brooks is a more dirty player, a more hated player than Draymond Green. Draymond Green has really been on this PR tour the last 2 years, 3 years, where he went from full heel to he's trying to go hero mode, really kind of at the heels of these superstar players such as LeBron James, always talking positively about them in the media. So to answer the question, I do think Dillon Brooks is overhated when compared to guys like Draymond Green and all-time irritants, but is Dillon Brooks overhated when just comparing him to himself? No, I don't think so. If you look up on YouTube right now, Dillon Brooks dirty plays, you can find a 7-minute and 30-second video of him being pretty dirty. The fact that you can find a 7-minute compilation of a guy being dirty just from this season kind of proves that, yes, he is somewhat of a dirty player. Now, his defensive rating, they're all over the place in terms of every single website I saw, but he is an above average defender. Make no mistake about it. He's really struggling with his offensive game this year. He's shooting 38% from three, which is absolutely abysmal. I mean, just terrible, honestly. He's shooting 31.5% from three, really bad too. Not really adding anything in terms of the rebounds and the assists. Again, he's not averaging a crazy amount of points per game, but he is averaging 14.4 points per game. Now, I definitely rather see him average significantly less points per game, maybe cut it in half, 7 points per game on significantly better efficiency. So I completely get the hate he's been getting on offense this year. It's kind of funny. I've watched like 10 to 12 Grizzlies games this year, and every time I think I've seen the Grizzlies play, Dillon Brooks plays pretty good. I know, again, last night he wasn't very efficient, but I mean, he did get the job done last night. And look, I get it. He's that classic chip on your shoulder guy. He was drafted in the second round of the NBA draft in 2017, despite being a really good player for 3 years at Oregon. So I get it. He comes into the NBA. I think Draymond Green is going to look back kind of similar to the Grant Williams situation, where he was really chippy with Grant Williams, then he kind of paid him his respect somewhat. I think at some point maybe he pays Dillon Brooks some respect. The fact that Draymond Green says the only reason or the main reason why the Memphis Grizzlies haven't had success is because of Dillon Brooks, I mean, that's like saying the Golden State Warriors aren't good this year because of Draymond Green. It's silly. It's not true. They're both role players. They're not the deciding factors in their team's success or failure, in my opinion. So in totality, if you're an NBA fan of a guy like Damien Lillard, a guy like Donavan Mitchell who has gotten really chippy with Dillon Brooks, I get you hating him. I completely understand. But if you're a Golden State Warriors fan, calm down. You've had Draymond Green, the dirtiest player in the last decade, on your team. I don't think he deserves as much hate as Draymond Green has gotten in the past.